What if the love you just found was already being threatened from the shadows? After days of heartbreak and fear, Toan and Diem are finally reunited, their passionate embrace sealing a love thought to be lost forever. A warm family gathering celebrates Diem's safe return, and for a moment, happiness feels within reach. But while laughter fills their home, betrayal is brewing at Toan's company. His trusted secretary secretly steals confidential files, setting a trap that could destroy everything. Don't miss this gripping story of love, reunion, and looming danger. Subscribe now to follow every twist and turn. After days of despair, uncertainty, and endless searching, Toan finally stood face to face with the woman he thought he might have lost forever. The world seemed to slow around him as he took a hesitant step forward, unsure if his eyes were playing tricks on him. But there she was, Diem. Weary, fragile, but safe. Alive. His heart raced in his chest as she looked up at him with teary eyes. A single breath escaped her lips before she whispered his name, barely audible, but it was enough. It was real. She was real. Without thinking, Toan rushed forward and wrapped his arms around her, holding her as if he could shield her from all the pain she had endured. Diem clung to him with equal desperation, her face buried against his chest, as if being near his heartbeat could calm the storms that still raged inside her. No words could capture the gravity of that moment. It was a reunion stitched together by love, fear, and an unspoken understanding of everything they had both gone through. Tears slipped silently down her cheeks as he gently cupped her face in his hands. "You're here," he murmured, voice cracking. "You're really here." Diem nodded, her bottom lip trembling. "I was so scared I wouldn't see you again." Toan leaned in, their foreheads touching, his thumbs brushing away her tears. "You're safe now. I won't let anything take you from me again." Then, without another word, he kissed her. It was not a simple kiss, not a tentative gesture. It was raw, deep, and desperate, fueled by all the nights he had lain awake imagining this moment, and all the pain she had endured in silence. Their lips met with a kind of fierce gentleness, one that only comes when two hearts have been broken and rebuilt with the hope of finding each other again. In that moment, time ceased to exist. It was just the two of them, reunited after darkness, tasting the promise of a second chance. When the kiss broke, their foreheads remained pressed together, breaths mingling, eyes closed. "I thought about you every single day," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "Even when I didn't know if I'd survive, it was the thought of you that kept me going." Toan swallowed hard, his own eyes damp with tears. "From now on, you won't have to think about me from afar. I'll be with you. Every day. Every night. No matter what." And then, as if guided by fate itself, Diem reached up and placed her hand on his chest. Her eyes searched his face with something new, something fragile and beautiful. "I want to be with you," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her fingers. Not just now. Not just because I'm scared. But because I love you. Toan's breath caught. The world disappeared behind him. His hands trembled as he pulled her into him once more. I love you too, he whispered, his voice breaking. You have no idea how much. In that quiet space between heartbeats, the pain of the past faded. They didn't need fireworks or grand declarations. That kiss, that embrace, and those whispered words were enough. And so, in the soft light of a new beginning, Diem officially became his partner, his love, the woman he had been waiting for all along. No matter what storms lay ahead, at that moment, they had each other. And for Toan, that was more than enough. Word of Diem's return spread quickly through Toan's family, and no one was more overjoyed than his grandmother. The old woman had prayed for days on end, her heart heavy with worry that her grandson would lose the woman he loved before fate had given them a true beginning. When she heard the news, tears of relief welled in her eyes, and she immediately demanded that the family prepare a reunion, not just any gathering, but a warm, heartfelt celebration to welcome Diem home. Toan didn't need convincing. He wanted the entire world to know that the woman he loved had returned, that she was safe, that life was finally giving them the happiness they deserved. More than anything, he wanted Diem to feel that she wasn't alone, that she now had a family who would stand by her side, just as he would. The following evening, their home glowed with soft, welcoming lights. Lanterns hung from the trees in the garden, casting a gentle radiance that made everything feel a little more magical. The aroma of home-cooked dishes filled the air, each recipe prepared with love by his grandmother, who insisted on cooking herself despite her age. She said it was her way of giving thanks to the heavens, to the ancestors, to life itself. Diem stood by Toan's side, still a little overwhelmed by the warmth that surrounded her. She had never experienced anything quite like it. The family gathered one by one, each person greeting her not with the curiosity reserved for strangers, but with open arms, as though she had always belonged. There were hugs, gentle hand squeezes, and quiet reassurances that she was finally home. Throughout it all, Toan never let go of her hand. When they finally sat down together at the large family table, Toan's grandmother raised her glass. Her voice, though aged, carried the strength of every emotion she felt. To have lost and to have found again, she began, her eyes shimmering with tears she didn't bother to hide, is a blessing few of us truly understand. Tonight, we give thanks for Diem's safe return and celebrate not just her presence, but the love that has brought her back to us. May this be the beginning of a life filled with happiness, peace, and unwavering love. Everyone raised their glasses in unison, their smiles genuine, their laughter ringing like music under the starry night sky. Diem looked around, her heart swelling. She had spent so long feeling lost, trapped in darkness and fear, and yet here she was, surrounded by a family that had accepted her, celebrated her, and loved her as one of their own. She turned to Toan, who was already watching her with soft eyes. Without thinking, she leaned her head on his shoulder, her voice barely audible, but full of meaning. "I've never felt so loved." Toan kissed the top of her head, his hand gently tracing patterns along her back. "You are loved. And from now on, you'll never forget it." The night carried on with laughter, storytelling, and the easy comfort that only family can bring. Even though Diem still bore the scars of her ordeal, tonight she felt whole, as if each embrace, each smile, each word of kindness had stitched a piece of her back together. Toan looked around at his family, his heart full. This was the future he had dreamed of, not wealth, not success, but the simple, profound joy of loving and being loved, of sitting around a table with the people who mattered most. For the first time in a long while, it felt like everything was finally falling into place. But neither of them knew that while the lights of their home glimmered with love, elsewhere in the city, shadows were stirring, and a threat was already waiting in silence. Yet as laughter echoed through the house and Diem finally began to believe that peace had returned to her life, far from the warm lights of their home, darkness was quietly setting its plans in motion. At Toan's office, a towering building that stood silent beneath the night sky, a shadow slipped past the security cameras with practiced ease. The figure moved swiftly, a black hoodie concealing his face, his steps soundless against the marble floor. He knew every corner, every blind spot. After all, he had worked there for years, the trusted secretary by Toan's side. No one would suspect him, not yet. The elevator doors opened on the executive floor. The office was dark, save for the faint glow of city lights bleeding through the wide glass windows. Without hesitation, the man headed straight for Toan's private office. He bypassed the biometric lock with a small device he had prepared long before, waiting for a night like this when the CEO would be too distracted by personal joy to notice what was being stolen from right under his nose. Once inside, he turned on a pocket flashlight, its beam slicing through the darkness. His eyes landed on the locked drawer where Toan kept his most confidential files, contracts, strategic plans, sensitive information that could destroy the company if it fell into the wrong hands. The secretary's lips curled into a faint smirk. This was it, the leverage his employers had been waiting for. He pulled on a pair of gloves, picked the lock with precision, and within seconds, the drawer clicked open. Inside lay the thick folder marked with Toan's personal seal, documents that had been carefully guarded, hidden even from most senior executives. He flipped through the pages swiftly, his phone camera clicking in rapid succession, capturing every single detail. The glow of the screen reflected the cold calculation in his eyes. Every image taken was a betrayal, each snapshot a step closer to the chaos that was being orchestrated from the shadows. Then he paused, his eyes catching on a particular file, one with Toan's handwritten notes about expansion plans, mergers, and confidential partners. Information that, if leaked, could cripple the company, damage reputations, and invite vultures from all corners of the business world. He photographed them all. The secretary glanced at his watch. just a few more minutes. He knew Toan was still at home, basking in his happiness with Diem, oblivious to the storm quietly brewing. But in the back of his mind, a small voice reminded him this wasn't just business. No, there was something personal here, an undercurrent of envy and bitterness he could no longer deny. Toan had everything: power, respect, and now, love. The kind of love the secretary had secretly yearned for, watching silently from the sidelines as Toan found in Diem what he himself could never have: not the power, not the girl, not the life. Snapping the last photo, he carefully replaced the files, ensuring everything looked untouched. As he backed away, his eyes lingered on Toan's family photo on the desk, the new picture with Diem by his side. For a fleeting second, something dark flickered in his gaze. Then, as quietly as he had come, he vanished into the night. Back at home, Toan and Diem sat by the garden, the cool night air embracing them as they talked softly about their dreams, their hopes, their future. They had no idea that even now, threads of betrayal were weaving themselves into their story, threatening the fragile peace they had only just begun to taste. Because sometimes, the most dangerous storms aren't the ones you see coming, but the ones that grow in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.